Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we've got a very special game in that we have got the brand new, possibly not making it to live, cinder mechanic. And this is something I really wanted to test because there's a lot of interesting things to talk about, in that I think it's got a lot of things that could potentially be interesting, but in general I'm not sold on it. But what I want to do is jump to a few games against Chaos Theory, and we're going to see how those go. So essentially what the system is you gain 2 cinder, you start the game gaining 2 cinder each turn for having your captain alive. So you get 2 cinder every single turn, and then every other turn you gain 2 cinder for your captain plus 1 cinder for every other living unit you have. So this means there's no incremental gain. You don't get 1, then 2, then 3, and then you get to save that across. It's literally just you gain it from your units. You can still save cinder, but it is only gained from those units and from the in-game resources. Now I do think the in-game resources help balance it slightly, because if it was only the case, then someone who gets board control is just going to win the game most of the time, because you're also getting resource control. But the crates give a little bit of leeway in that. I'm not convinced it's enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same list that we played previously, and that's just going to be this experimental exterior list. I'm not going to run through it because it's pretty straightforward, but the important thing here is that we're running 2 1-drops. And I think in this version, because we start with 2 cinder, without playing 2 1-drops, you are putting yourself behind every single time. So I'm going to jump into a couple of games with Chaos and see what happens. If you like the video, please do hit that subscribe button. On this one, I really want to hear what you think of this cinder system. Personally, I'm not sold yet, but hopefully these games will, either set my mind one way or the other. But I really want to hear what you guys think and be as honest or as brutal as you can. It's really important to me to hear your honest opinions, so I can feed that back to the dev team as well. And also, subscribe to the channel if you like it, like the video, and if you really want to support us, go ahead and head over to Patreon. But for now, we're going to jump into some games and see what happens. I'm really keen to see how abusable this is. So basically, the reason I think this is abusable is because what we can do is if we deploy 2 units turn 1 if we're going first, and our opponent deploys 2 turn 1 as well, if we can kill one of those units, we're going to have 4 cinder that following turn. If we can kill one of those units with our units, we're then going to have a cinder advantage for them from that point onwards, and potentially we can play another unit as well. So we'd end up in a position where, say they had Antios and Tlali and we had Antios Tlali, we know that we can deal 6 damage to those units because we can use 2 cinder to make Antios deal 4 and Tlali can deal 2 on their own. So we can kill one of these every single time. It's interesting seeing Chaos Theory play Zax. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm actually going to move right onto this, and then I'm just going to deploy really aggressively. So luckily for Chaos there's a bit of distance here, but we're going to just move all the way up into their face, and we can melee this, so maybe we should have actually considered doing that. Okay, we should have done that first so we could gain the cinder potentially, but now we can actually gain that next turn and still make progress here. So this is obviously the right choice here, is they're going to try and damage our units, but if they deploy anything even vaguely in range, we're going to get a cinder advantage really early on. So like this here, this is going to die, or this. Either of these two are going to die. And that to me is a pretty solid indicator that we're going to be able to win this game. Because from here, so if we come over this way, we're going to inner energy here and just hit here. Okay, that crit is actually even more important, because now we've got even more control basically. Given that Extilio can get here, I actually think, can we get Tlali up to there? We might actually be able to. This could be disgusting. So if we move this here, this over here, we can just battle frenzy ourselves, get Extilio to take this hit, take this with Tlali. So from this point onwards, we're getting 4 cinder next turn and they're only getting 2. So they don't even have enough damage on the board to kill one of our units without using Scattervine. So we're just a massive cinder advantage early on. So, oh yeah, they can use it corrosive, but this uses one of their assists, and it only just kills it, and we're still going to be ahead on cinder here. So this keeps them out of range, that's fine. Maximus is obviously a great unit.
Just kidding.
But if we need to, we can just still deploy multiple things. So what have we got here? Basically, I'm trying to figure out where the best use of our cinder is here. So I actually think deploying Maximus over here is quite safe. Which, on the fact that that is safe, means that we can do other things that might not otherwise have been safe. Again, they've only got a couple of damage on the battlefield. So we're going to just move up aggressively, make it harder for them to see us with everything. Make sure Maximus has to move around. And honestly, if we just deploy Beatrice somewhere... So, for instance, if we pop Beatrice here, it's very unlikely that Zax is going to be able to run away from it completely. So again, we're in a situation where we're applying pressure, we've got extra units, Maximus is ranged so can do some damage over here, and without a crit here, they can't, well, need double crit. They can't even kill our units. So, this game's probably over, to be completely honest. We've got Disruptor and Stim Burst next turn. We're just going to shoot Maximus up here and head over. That's just a mine, that's fine. Like, it's not over, but it's very close to over. So if we Stim Burst all of these, losing Tilali here is irrelevant. So how far back can we get to there? Yeah, so I'm actually just going to go over here first. Hit Inner Energy. Okay, I don't know why that showed 5 damage, I think, on that, but... So let's just shoot this over this direction. Exterior can come in here. We're just going to stay slightly away from Beatrice. Or in fact... Okay, no, we can't quite get everything we want. We'll go for this damage first. We'll apply... In fact, we want this mine dead, but it doesn't matter. We'll just apply pressure onto them. And we're just going to keep deploying more and more units out. So this is 6 damage here, so without using their Cinder on this mine... Oh, we've got Maximus still, of course. Max can just shoot this and hope for a crit. Had I remembered that, I might have actually gone for this instead, because I could have killed it. So they can go over here and probably kill Antios, which works, but again, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Cinder at the moment, and they're getting 3. So yeah, they have to actually kill a unit and deploy one to even get a chance. Like, one thing I'm going to do actually at the end of this is I might go back at this video and have a look and see how many Cinder we got over the course of the game versus them. Ooh, nice back and forth crit there. And there's the Disruptor, okay. So we've used both of our Disruptors, but we use them to good effect, and now the fact that we're having 7 Cinder next turn, they look like they're going to have 7 Cinder for now, although I don't think that's right. Because they've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This I'm not worried about. This is fine exploding. So snaring is obviously the biggest threat here. So we need to just get some pressure onto that. The interesting thing is Maximus might be the right way to do so. So if we send Maximus over here, just take a couple of shots. We've got one, that's nice. If we send this over here... Okay, we might actually just have to use the spin. Which is good, and we need 3 Cinder for something else, so... I'm going to pop Peacemaker Balam over here, try and get a point. We'll head over here to try and get 4 damage over here. I don't know why this is showing the whole flashing bar, because that's just not accurate right now, unless we... Yeah, it's not showing us that we're guaranteed to crit or anything, but... And again, so they're down to 1 unit, we've got 3, 4 rather. Where's our 4? 1, 2, 3. Oh, here, Beatrice, yeah, we got 4. So again, we're just absolutely overwhelming them with Cinder. They've got 1 damage here, so between their 2 units they can deal with this. Yeah, they've got 1 additional damage here. This is absurd. Like, I don't know how they ever feel like they can come back into this. Like, Chaos can stun here, that's fine, but... Again, we can actually Stim Burst up here. We've got Scattermine coming next turn. Turncoat exists. The interesting thing, so this is almost definitely a Stimburst turn. Can we get both of those? Not quite. We just need Stimburst Beatrice. Oh, we're actually still short. That's pretty awkward. So what we can... Oh, I thought this was in there. Maybe it's contested. Funny thing about this is we can Scattervine down here. Has our deployment range decreased? Either way, we're going to move Scattervine here and get... and grow here. So this is just in case we get a massive crit back against us. This can move back over here. We can keep Balam safe a little bit. And what I might do actually first is just Spore Puff this and move to safety, and then move in and clear up a little bit of damage here. Missing both is pretty bad. So I genuinely don't know. This Cinder feels very odd to me because we've got so much, and I can't remember the last time Chaos had more than 3. I'm curious as if they can even play the units off their roster. Like, yeah. It may be that because we're keeping them to 3 or at max 6 if they store up their Cinder, they're just not going to be able to keep up that tempo, especially if things arrive in stunned. That didn't feel particularly fair. So, like I said, I'm going to go back after this and check the Cinder on each of the games and have a little outro for that as well. So, but for now, I'm going to jump into another one and see if we're on the other side of this, and see if we get picked apart in equal fashion. So I'll see you back in the game. Okay, we are back for another game here, and let's see what we get. So this is one of the interesting ones. Victory points are quite relevant here, but this is such a huge area that nobody ever really holds it. And again, I think it's first and second with the assists that I've got means that if I can just get in range, it's almost impossible for me to fall behind as much. So again, they've gone Disruptor and Corrosive. That's an interesting shot. Okay, yeah, Antios and Slowly. Yeah. There is absolutely no reason not to play both of those. So the question is, how safe do I think I could be? So I'm obviously going to do the same thing. Play Antios and Slowly down. And see what they want to do. I imagine they disrupt her and then try and go for some damage, but given that we can activate both of these and even just deal 8 damage on a turn, there's nothing they can play on this turn other than a Beatrice that we can't kill with that combo. And we may even be able to kill an extra unit with it as well, which is mad. So obviously this is good for them, they want to be applying pressure, but if they move 2 units forward, there is a very reasonable chance we can kill both. Because we've got 5 damage off of Exterior, 6 damage off of these 2, if we just use the abilities once. Yes, there's Beatrice, that's fine, we knew that was coming. The question is, can we get a second unit into range of us? We also scored 2 VP here, but also I've heard in this that, yeah, the bounty system seems to have gone. So, do we just go for killing something? Or do we just try and score? So this could actually be a really fun turncoat, but I think what I want to do here is go for something completely out there. So what if we went for just all out damage? You know what? Can we get Beatrice away from us? No. So let's just kill Maximus, I think. So Tlali can get over here and get a good attack in. We can get this in. We still can spend 2 Cinder here, that's fine. Extilior's just going to move. Let's go over here for Extilior. And what we'll do is I'm going to play Beatrice just here, so they can't Beatrice through onto our units. So Disruptor's obviously fine, they can try and push these down here and get an angle that way, but again, I feel like here, if they get the good angle, we're going to be the ones losing the tempo, and then therefore losing the game. So they gain 5 Cinder this turn. So as it stands, we're gaining 5, but there's no guarantee of that. And also, us holding this victory point doesn't do much, because all they need to do is spend one turn to come and take it away from us, and then we can never score it again as long as they just keep putting units there. So this is a very difficult scenario. I think this shows off the power of Stim Burst very well. Stim Burst needs to be... It's 50% move speed at the moment. It needs to at least be... Oh, okay, so corrosive these two is quite nice, yeah. Yeah, that works. They can go for the attack here with... Ooh, not a good shot though. But yeah, so Stim Burst needs to at least be down to 30% move speed rather than 50. 50 is insanely strong. Okay, the fact they got that is a huge deal. That changes the entire tempo of the game again. And a mine. Okay, sure. An area. So again, if we can't deal with these units, we're just immediately behind in tempo. Like, you need to kill things every turn to even have a chance. Okay, so we gain the VP. Little sound cut out there. This is interesting because it shows us that they're going to hit the mine again.
We must do this.
So this does mean that we've got enough damage here potentially to kill. Oh no, we don't, because obviously we need to damage through it, yeah, so that's not right.
For justice.
Stay a while.
This one we might as well actually just pop over, because then we're going to die again, so if I pop over here, maybe I should have put a shield on it first, but we have still got Maximus or Scattervine that we can play here, so if we play our Maximus just behind this, we're still applying the pressure a little bit. And actually, yeah, we can move up this way now and avoid getting the double attack here. So we're going to use Extilior for the pressure, and we're going to try and hold the centre objective another way. So this one feels a bit more even. Like, I don't feel like this has been a runaway game, but the last one absolutely was. Okay, so this is going to be them trying to pull in so they get a good angle with the Beatrice, which is pretty reasonable. All this damage still being here is terrifying, but we're going to deal with that next turn as best we can. Yeah, we can't guarantee it, but if they get crit back, okay, no, that's pretty awkward. So Tali can just come in, yeah, just use her ability here. Antios is going to be just short, so maybe there's a way of killing both here. But now we can get some really good attacks in. Like, we might be able to Stim Burst this around this way, Disruptor in here, spin and hit, and then use Maximus to kill. This is 1 damage. Yeah.
They're so confused.
So they've got a movement left, but nothing else. What was that? Oh, placing a mine. Okay, sure. So that mine probably does matter, in fact, which is interesting. So let's place this over here. I'm actually going to take the damage on Extilior here. I mean, we could go for this. And then... But I think we want to try and clear all the units. So we're just going to take the damage on Extilior here. Because I don't think... In fact, what if we... Yeah, because we can't get him where we need to. So let's just Stim Burst these. We're going to take the hit here. It is what it is. Hit there. And we're just going to actually move around this direction to keep lines of sight clear. Maximus is going to move over and get 2 hits onto Antios. Does that help? No, it doesn't really help, does it? In fact... let's just go for it. We're just going to go for all the damage that we can do here.
Many courses of action.
Because it does matter. Yeah, so hit here, Scattervine here, attack, and then we're all stuck, but sure. Again, by killing crew, we're incentivized to kill crew anyway. By killing crew even more, like more often than normal, we're not only ticking up victory points, but we're forcing like the cinder advantage in our favour. So being able to take these crew out is a double advantage. We're doubling down on what's relevant for us here. So Beatrice had enough shields from Extilior there. So here she's not even going to die either. So that's most of their cinder. They're down to barely gaining anything per turn. They're going to lose Arya here. Again, I don't know how you come back from this. Yeah. Like, Chaos being behind in both of those games led to there not being any real recourse. You know, there was no... Once you get behind, you're getting less and less resources every turn. You're getting less options. You know, you don't have as much involvement in the game, so any early lead can really easily start snowballing from there, and it's a really terrifying thought. So for now, I'm going to call that a video. I'm going to just cut away so that I can go ahead and look at the stats and just have a quick look through and talk through how much cinder difference there really was in those games, and I will be back for a little wrap up in just a moment. Okay, so I have had a look at some of the statistics. I've only looked at them for the first game, just because that was one where it really felt like we had an advantage. So if we look at it through, on turn 1, each of the two of us got 2 cinder each. On turn 2, I had 4, Chaos had 2. On turn 3, I had 4 because I harvested 1 from the crate, Chaos had 3. On turn 4, I had 5, he had 3. On turn 5, I had 5, he had 3. On turn 6, I had 5, he had 3. So that meant we ended up with 6, 7, 8, 9 cinder advantage over the course of the game. If you think that your opponent could basically play something like a switchback and a blindsider Redsley, and you don't get to, or your opponent gets to activate 5 abilities, you know, 4 2 cinder abilities and a 1 cinder ability over the course of a game, and you don't get to do that, even if we play the same units, exactly the same, if we played the same lists, I would get to activate abilities even on the captain alone, and they wouldn't do over the course of the game. And to me, that felt really, really one-sided. It felt like, you know, even on the turn where they got the same amount of cinder, we'd already had some of that extra cinder put on the battlefield, so it just took 1 extra turn to churn that advantage out again. 9 cinder over the course of a game, you would have never seen that in the current version of the game. The only way that someone can get a cinder advantage at the moment is by using something like Escape Hatch, which has a downside to it, or by using Astra Cinder Orbs, which are, you know, risk reward, and the Cinder Orbs in general are 1 cinder per use. So unless someone was using 9 Cinder Orbs or just growing them multiple turns, you'd never see an advantage of 9 cinder over the course of a game. To me, I don't think it's the right choice for Moonbreaker, but there's a really big positive to take away from this, in that this is such an exciting thing to do from a design perspective, is to just have an idea, implement it, put it into play really quickly, have people try it out, and see if it works. So, in terms of the mechanic, fine. I don't think this is a success. I think this is much worse than the current system we've got. But that's just a thing that can happen. You know, not everything is going to be an improvement. Some things you have to know, you have to test to find out. And what, you know, Unknown Worlds, the whole dev team have done, is they've put this into a place with such a rapid turnaround that, you know, what's to say what we won't get in the future? It could be anything, could just be tried out, given a run, in a public forum. People can find any flaws with it, they can find ways to improve it, and that's so exciting as a concept for a game. So, while the system, like, this hasn't worked itself, huge round of applause to the devs for being willing to put this together. It really does make me even more excited for the future of Moonbreaker, as long as it's not this cinder system. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank Chaos for playing against me. It's really appreciated. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a positive change for Moonbreaker or a negative one. I'm really curious as to sort of, you know, your input on that. But most importantly, like, if you can support the channel on the Patreon, it means the world to me. So I know I shill it all the time, but I can't tell you how happy I was when I first got those supporters. Apologies, but most importantly, more than any of that, is to have a good day.